It is time to start framing my shop. And I've got this corner set up. I've got grade all the way across there checked. It's pretty close, but there's a few minor ups and downs, but all of these studs need to be cut anyway, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Now, behind me, what I will do is I'll end up running a 5/12 pitch roof from here to where it joins the upper floor wall there. And I don't know if it's in the picture or not, but that'll probably end up about a foot or two, probably a couple feet below those windows that you see up there. Those windows, it would have been nice to make them a little bit bigger, but they're primarily for light and ventilation. So it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. I didn't want the roof line to get too close and be able to have backsplash up on the windows. So kept them on the small side. I'll do windows identical to that on the opposite side. Here, there'll be the door there, of course. There'll be a window here. There'll be a window here. And then nothing else in the back wall for windows, just to let some light in on this south-facing side. Let's get going. I believe I've had enough for one day. I think I'll call it quits. If I have time to work on this tomorrow, I'll finish up this wall and see what time allows. Have a good evening. Here I am over here. I've got a few rafters cut. It's time to start doing some roof framing. We'll see if we can start to making this place look like what my design drawings were. Here we go. That has about half the rafters up on this section. I'm pleased to have it that far along. You can actually see what's going on now. I have some errands to run. I ended up breaking a hydraulic line on my backhoe, so I've got to run and get some parts for that and get it fixed and move just a little bit of dirt. And hopefully this afternoon I will get back to putting up the rest of these. See you then. Okay, well there is what we have, and what I have decided is that there will be a 16.5-inch overhang on this eave and then a 12-inch overhang along the front of the building. So the next step then is to cut these all off in a straight line, and you can kind of see that I've already laid that out. Those are my cuts. I'll cut those next. And those are at 14.5 inches beyond the face of the plywood. So by the time I add an 1.5 inch edge rafter here, or edge on this, a rim, I'll have a total of a 16-inch overhang there. That'll be the next step. The step after that then will be to add a 2x4 barge rafter that overhangs this edge by 12 inches. We'll do that on the front and the back. And once those are done, then I am ready to start putting up some sheathing over the top of it. And hopefully, before I am finished with this trip, I'll have this whole roof dried in to where I got an area that stays dry. The sheathing on this wall should stay relatively dry. It might backsplash a little bit if it rains, and then also the sheathing on that wall will stay dry, which I'm liking the idea of because it has swollen some since I was here the last trip. So we'll get started on that next. Gabby wants to climb the ladder and help me. I'm ready for roof sheathing now, to get that started at least. And something from this whole series that I'm hoping that can be learned. I did this channel first of all so my cousins up north would be able to see what it's like living in the South and what it's like to build something. I did that started it for them, and then I hoped there would be something that maybe can be learned by people and maybe even entertained a little bit. And I'll admit I'm probably the least entertaining person that I know. I'm pretty matter of fact about everything, and everyone that knows me knows that. But the one thing that I think that can be learned is that through technology and over time that we as humans have learned to become very lazy. And lazy not only physically, but mentally too. And we have lost an awful lot of creativity, and that's something that can't be learned in grade school, high school, college, in an art class or anything. It's something that really has to come about us naturally. And I think that learning to do things alone really, really increases a person's creativity, being able to figure out what's it going to take to do this by myself, what's it going to take to do that by myself. And in construction, I have loved working alone. I've almost always worked alone, and I really enjoy it. And I think there is so much that can be done that other people don't even see as in the realm of possible. It seems like everyone who's made a delivery to the job for me or come in and done something for me, I said, Blair, are you really building that place all by yourself? And yes, I haven't had a bit of help with anything so far, and there's a structure that's starting to emerge here. And I think that we can really learn from that and really learn that everybody has the ability to be creative if we just take the time to stop back and think about what necessity will bring us. I'm not a prepper. I don't consider myself a prepper, although I'd be a pretty good person to know in a zombie apocalypse, I suppose. But I just like being able to do things and to be able to do things alone. I do wish I had more than 10 viewers on a doggone video, and I suppose if I had a well-endowed, scantily clad lady, that 10 viewers would jump up to 10,000. But that's really not what I'm about. So I'll continue plugging away at it the way that I do now. Me and my dog here, wherever she went, and just keep after it. So hopefully, keep watching. You'll learn something. We'll get started on sheathing. Well, I think that's about it for framing on this section of the building. I still have the two end walls, of course, to do, but at least I am to where I can keep things dry, and I've made myself some shade down there to be able to work in. The one other goal that I do have yet is to get this roof dried in, which I'll do tomorrow. Tomorrow is actually my last working day here for this trip, and then I'll be gone for probably a little over a month and come back with my daughter next time. One other task that I have for tomorrow is to lay at least 50 feet of pipe and hopefully about 70. I'll see how much I have time for that, and getting this dried in is my goal for tomorrow. So this is just about time to call it an episode, and thank you very much for being here. Hope you enjoyed watching me work, I guess. If you learned anything, that's awesome too. I'm not a person that offers safety tips very often, because I figure that safety is one's own personal responsibility, and it's generally based on common sense. For me, because of my age, that I have a few different safety issues than a younger person might. There are things that, because I've got enough experience, I know what to look out for, so there are things that may not be a big issue to me that are for others. A roof, this is a roof pitch of a 512. I'm fairly comfortable working on up to about a 612 pitch. That's fairly easy to walk on without slipping, assuming that it's not slippery, and there are a couple things that can make it slippery. I fell off a roof that's much lower pitch than this, trying to clean snow off of it years ago, and I slipped and fell about 8 feet, shattered my wrist, and needed surgery because of that. So it's kind of a sticking point to me to make sure that you've got a roof that isn't slippery and it's safe to work on. Another thing that is just about as slippery as ice and snow is sawdust. And sawdust you're always generating when you go to making cuts up here. So I keep a blower fairly handy anytime that I'm generating dust of any sort. If it's wet and muddy or something, you might track mud and sand up here that also gets a little bit slippery. But that's the one safety tip that I guess I have to offer. Make sure if you're working on a roof, even though when it's stable and clean, it's relatively safe to work on, it can get slippery, and you don't really think about the things that make it slippery. So we'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you being here. Bye.